Well, I went to the bike shop the other day and I got the right tool to fit in there. So let's take this gang of sprockets off the back wheel. And then we can take the rest of the whole back wheel apart. That's what's happening on this episode of Featherstone Bicycles. So of course the first thing we need to do is put this nut, this tool I should say, in the vise, clamp it down. And we could put that in to the wheel and then use a wrench to turn it, but you need an extra set of hands to keep leverage on the outside of the rim while you turn the wrench. So sticking the tool in the vise is a little bit easier. Of course, now if you put the tool in from the top side and use the wrench, because this is the drive side and it's turning to the right to tighten, you would turn it to the left to loosen it. However, if you weren't using the wrench, you'd have to turn the wheel to the right so that the wrench, the tool was staying stationary, and therefore the unwinding would happen to the left. However, it's upside down, so you are actually going to turn it to the left, which would be the same thing as turning it to the right the other way around. Hopefully that makes sense. Oh, and that came undone very easily. That should be it. So now we're able to unwind the, as I'm calling it, gang of sprockets, or we can call it the sprocket cluster. Take the spoke guard off. Get that cleaned up later. We do see we have some broken spokes, and I did notice those before, so I was able to source some from the bike shop. I did want to explain one thing about this sprocket cluster. Seen before in a previous video where I took this split ring off here and was able to get this cover plate up, and that there's a very tightly wound spring underneath there, and that there was some little tiny pawls on that first sprocket with some springs that went into these slots that you see here. It almost looked like a ratcheting freewheel type of system. I'm decided that I'm going to do a video where a separate sort of bonus video where I take this completely apart, clean it, and put it all back together, as well as the front part of the system on the crank that has the actual freewheel on it. And because it will just be too much to do for this season. So look for that sometime in the future. Otherwise, we're going to get going on taking the wheel apart and then cleaning everything up. clean up these axle parts before we put them on the wire wheel. And we're also going to clean up the ball bearings for the axle. reflector. Here's all of our parts for the rear wheel. Next episode, we'll put it all back together and move on to the last few items. Thanks for sticking with me, and I hope to see you next time on Featherstone Bicycles.